Well, Bitcoin's tanking right now. Like I've been saying for a week or so, I wanted to drop into the mid 75s. And the reason for that is because I want to buy things cheap and sell them when they're expensive because I'm an investor. Type one, if you agree with that thesis. I like buying things cheap and selling them when they're expensive. The total opposite of what most retail investors do. And the reason for this Bitcoin drop is Japan. Japan bond yields, which I think is a load of crap. I'm not going to, I'm going to be very blunt with this one. We're going to talk about this story. And real quick, it's Cyber Monday. This is the very last day for all those insane 90% off sale prices on the courses. I highly suggest you look into crypto. I know it sounds crazy as crypto is going down. That's when you should actually learn about it and learn how to buy it, secure it, store it, make money with it. Oh my gosh. The links down below to all those courses, the real estate courses. Please, in 2026, start buying tax liens and deeds. Go make yourself lots of money from your own house investing in these tax lien auctions online. It's super simple. The links down below for that bundle on tax liens and deeds. All right. There's lots of links down below. All right. So right now, the Japanese yield has hit fresh multi-year highs. I think it's at like 1.8%. We're going to find out in a second. I'm going to read this story to you, but it's total crap. This is why it's total crap. Anyone looking at Japanese bond yields, yeah, I get it, the carry trade, the carry trade, the carry trade. All these YouTubers that want to look really important and special. Look, I'm going to unwind the carry trade. Copy. It's because, let me break this down real simple and then say yes or no if you agree or like this makes sense. The carry trade has to do, and this is going to be broken down real simple, with big funds moving massive amounts of money between Japanese bonds and US bonds or other investment vehicles, right? They go, well, we could get a lot of money over here, and it has to do with them borrowing money to be able to invest the money, and they can make a good return investing over here, and then they shift it over here, and it go, depending on the rates. Well, now everyone's thinking that Japan is going to their central bank boost their bond rates. Let me make this real clear. The only reason they would boost their bond rates if people are no longer buying Japanese bonds and they've been buying other things. So they want to make it more appealing to people to invest in those bonds, invest in their debt. Here is the shocker. The bonds are yielding right now at about like 1.8%, maybe 1.9%. Japanese inflation right now is sitting at 3%. It jumped from 2.9 to 3% back in, I believe it was late September is when those government numbers coming out. So their bonds are way below their annual inflation rate. And if you live in Japan, do me a favor, type YEP if you agree. Yep. It's an American thing. Sorry. Yep. If you, there's no way that interest rates are staying up with inflation. All right. So now check this out. This is just a summary of what's going on X because everyone's freaking out because Bitcoin's dropping. I'm super pumped because I've got cash on the side like any smart investor would to be able to scoop up more crypto, hopefully soon at $75,000 range. Okay. So I'm going to read this and then I'm going to read something from a student that was super the most insane email I've gotten in a while, and it's so cool to watch people go from a poverty mindset to a wealthy mindset. And I want to change that today in all of you because I'm going to talk about something called XCN. It's a cryptocurrency. If you guys all own it, type it down below. I'm curious how many of you guys own it, and then you're going to find out what I did with it. All right, Bitcoin drops below $85,000 on Japanese bond yield surge. It says traders blame rising Japanese government bond yields with the 10-year hitting 1.88%, its highest yield since 2008. All right. Boy, a lot of you guys with XCN are not going to like what I'm about to say. Its highest since 2008 and signaling a possible bank Japan rate hike on Japan. Oh, sorry. Now I'm thinking about XCN. Jeez, let's start this over. This is its highest yield since 2008. And signaling a possible Bank of Japan rate hike on December 18th to 19th. This strengthens the yen, unwinding the carry trade where cheap yen funded risky bets on assets like Bitcoin. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier when I was trying to break it down real simple. People borrow in the yen, they go and invest in things like Bitcoin, right? While sentiment shows extreme fear and US Bitcoin ETF saw record 3.79 billion outflows in November, whales accumulated 375,000 Bitcoin recently, and miners cut sales sharply, holding support near 80,000. So let me make this really clear. Did you hear this where it said whales accumulated a boatload of Bitcoin, and miners cut their sales because they know what Bitcoin's worth, because they know how much it costs for the mining fees to pull it out of the atmosphere. All right. So think about that. Listen to people with lots of money. All right. They're buying, and the people creating the Bitcoin are not selling. All right. So that should tell you something. So now I'm going to read this email from someone, because what most people don't realize is when Bitcoin tanks, all of the crypto market goes down with it. Guys, do me a favor. Type 10 if you go, I know that. I get that. Be honest and say type 11 if you're like, I didn't realize that. I thought Ninja's picks would always go up, so I didn't get it. Also, there's something else you really need to understand. I want you to type a couple numbers for this one too. Do you understand that every single stock, every single crypto has a cycle from its inception, when people hear about the investment, to when it's released and they can buy it? There's this freak out moment and everybody bids it up. Then there's a capitulation as there's less buyers than sellers. Then all of a sudden it tanks, and then you go through this flatline phase with a cryptocurrency project where they're coding, they've raised their money and all this stuff, and I'm making it very simple. In my courses, I explain this very detailed. But they're out there coding, and then the humans get bored and they don't want to buy it, and the price just either stays stagnant, flatline, or it tanks even more. And then all of a sudden they came out with their main net and all this great news and all this stuff, and it takes off again. So this year has been a wild year. I showed you at the beginning how to go make a lot of money, and then I came out with a couple of free picks. People slowly picked them up, bought them. Then I came out with some courses on how to take full advantage of this, and not a lot of people signed up. Not a lot of people take decisive action and want to learn how to make money. They get lazy, and they buy tops, and then the world dumps on them. Well, XCN is one of those coins. I talked about XCN when it was 1/4 of a penny, 0.0025 cents. I put it out to the newsletter. I said, hey, look, I've invested in this, and then it dropped to 0.002 cents, and I go, I think I would look at this. Then it rose up to 0.003 cents, and then I loaded up. Okay, I wanted to do everything honestly and with integrity. So I told everyone I bought a little bit. It went down. I told everyone, hey, this is what I bought. Some people thought I was trying to pump my bags. They're clueless. When it went up significantly on a percentage basis to 0.003, I loaded up. Then we just sat and waited for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden traction started picking up because volume was picking up. And then all of a sudden the news stories came out. And this project started really running. All these amazing news stories are coming out. Oh my gosh, and boom, 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 it's going all the way up. And in April, or no, sorry, was it early March or end of February? Just go look through all my videos, and you're going to see a video that I put out, and I said, this is bad news for XCN. And by that point, people had already made 2,200%. It was at almost a little over 4.5 cents. And I said, they just did this deal with Justin Sun. And all this time, I'm trying to, I was texting back and forth, not texting, but direct messaging on X with the team of XCN, looking for new news to cover and all that stuff, because we were super excited. And I said, look, I want to know who you guys are. I'd like to interview. They said no to an interview. I kept everything, screenshotted everything, right? Because I sort of starting to see the writing on the wall. They're not doxing themselves. Who are these guys creating this project? And so at the time with the deal with Justin Sun, when Justin Sun accused them of being frauds, and no joke, within 24 hours, guys, do me a favor, type 100 if you remember all of this happening last spring. Within 24 hours of Justin Sun accusing them of fraud, and I believe HTX, the big exchange, they turned around and said they'd struck a deal with Justin Sun to do a deal. And I said, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And I came out and I did this video. I said, this is bad news. And people were cursing at me, yelling at me. I was the biggest idiot, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? And who am I to think that they should be having me interview them? It's because I was one of the largest investors, and I know what's going on in some crypto circles. And so with them not doxing themselves, I said, and this deal with Justin Sun, I said, look, I'm taking 50% off the table. And I announced that to everyone. Free video around the world. And for a few days, that price held over 4 cents. And the only people that saw that were the people that watched that video. I bet you that video got like 80,000 views. And then it started a slow downward spiral, just slowly, slowly, slowly. And at a certain point, I actually told my trading group, it got all the way down to under a penny. I said, look, when it gets to these prices at a penny and under, let's start buying it up. And another cycle started again with them coming out with all this news about Goliath and all this incredible stuff. So it took off again, and my traders made money. Everybody. I mean, that next cycle went from 0.008 to I think 2 cents. So they all over doubled their money. And I held on to the other half until just 2 weeks ago. I'd still owned half of my entire stack, and just hoping that after the Goliath mainnet would come out and all that stuff, that there would finally be, hey, this is our team, this is what we do. You know, you can say all day long that Chain owns them, but you can't really find any information on Chain. You can find out who invested in Chain, but no one's doxed. So I took it and I said, the React is too good of a project for me because this team is doxed. They have a huge background in crypto, and they are not institutional funded project. I love that stuff, and they're working on becoming very decentralized. And I see them speaking, the heads of React speaking with the heads of Ethereum. They all know each other. I'm like, okay, and they solved a problem that Ethereum has had ever since their smart contracts came out, as far as scaling those smart contracts and making them more reactive to changing times in nanoseconds on chain, right? So I took my XCN and I transferred it into React at these prices. It's insane. But I'm one of those people that are okay buying something really cheap, like XRP, when everyone was making fun of me at stupid low prices. And then when it went from 365 at the peak of 2018 to all the way back down to like, what was it? I think my best purchase was 16 cents. I'm sitting there while XRP is in the gutter and everyone's mocking this and buying it up, selling my house to buy it and all this kind of stuff. And now when I came out last year, or this year, and said, hey, look, I sold half of my XRP, and because there's more money to be made in other projects. Again, you got a bunch of newbies, you know, that think they know everything because they're listening to dorks in sweaters talking about, you know, how XRP. Please look. How many of you have watched a YouTuber this year in the beginning of the year say XRP will be $1,000 by January of next year because of this or that? Then some time goes by, XRP will be $500 by January because of this or that. Consistently wrong, right? Now, I think that person's call is XRP will be $100 by January. It just keeps going down. Yet, what did I tell you? I said the highest you're probably going to see XRP is 12 to 18 bucks. That's a blow off top with this cycle. And right now, it ain't anywhere near that. I said there was way more money on a percentage basis to make in other projects. Now, the sad thing is, I said that I believe you're going to see XCN at 5 cents before you see XRP at $5. And people made fun of that. Well, guess what? Still hasn't happened yet, right? But guess what's also happened? XRP ain't anywhere near $5. It's because the whole market's down. So let me read this to you. And this blew my mind from a subscriber that turned into a student because he got burned on XCN. Dear Ninja and Dylan, I just want to thank you. I've been following for a while. Just got into crypto last year. I bought XRP and also dove into XCN when you talked about it. I sold when you told us to sell with the Justin Sun thing. I was filled with hopium and thought XCN was it and would continue to go up, and I would continue to make those types of returns. I kept buying XCN high. So he sold when I said, hey, I'm out. I sold half. But then he kept buying on these dips, right? So now I'm significantly down. I bought a lot of your picks, which I'm significantly down on, right? Again, we're talking about the hopium, buying at peaks, everything I said don't do, he was doing, right? Oh, wait, sorry. This is Kelly. All right, hold on. I keep always putting, you read something, it's like a ship, you know. All right. So anyway, sorry. I guess I had diamond hands thinking everything was going to moon. I bought the DeFi course at a high price a few months ago. So this is what she says. Not when it came out like I should have. I always tell people that. This is the pre-filming discount. Buy it now, buy it now. A lot of people got upset with that, but she bought it, right? I finally dove all in. I had a child in March of 2024, and it's amazing. And I feel like I have been able to find more time to work on the courses. I wish I would have made more effort and figured out how to go through these courses earlier. I guess better late than never, right? So she says, now I decided to buy the base course. I know that these are very small micro caps and risky buys. So she's starting to learn this stuff because the courses, I hammer this into my students' heads, right? I bought a small amount of, I can't say what it is because that's on the course and it's their pick. And when it went down, I bought a bit more at lower levels, right? Because it spiked, right? Normally, but she waited, she bought more. I just recently was able to sell 50% of that holding at a 2x, getting my original investment out. I always teach that. Just going safe, right? I have that money set aside and have some limit buys if, can't say this coin because it's the pick, reaches lower levels. If Bitcoin and ETH decide to dip again, like it is right now, that's why we're here, right? I've been telling you, I've been holding a bunch of cash on the side, hoping that Bitcoin gets into the mid 70s range. I don't know if it will. I hope it does. I hope some other people freak out of the Japan carry trade, the yen carry trade. She says, if it doesn't, I still have 50% invested. Now, please, guys, type yes or no. Does this sound like a person that has went from losing and hopium and buying at spikes to becoming well-educated, calm, and mature? This email's blowing me away. All right. Just in one email, you're seeing the transformation of someone that's getting excited, thinking they're going to get rich, losing now to I'm calm, I'm collected, I'm winning. I'm taking these small wins and I'm making money. All right. She says, I've learned not to be so emotional and I let the trade come to me. I'm also excited to spend more time looking into projects on the base network. That base network's going to be massive. You're going to find out in about 2 weeks. All right. So I highly suggest you learn how to trade and build on base. And when I say build, you don't have to be a coder. You can make stupid amounts of money posting and doing things on base right now. That's what the course teaches. All right. And the link's down below. A stupid price on that too. A lot of my money, she says, is tied up in everything I'm down in. Plus, with the holidays, daycare, and just life, it's hard to find and put more money in on projects now that they are down. I have learned so much recently. I have also learned to take profits along the way and to not hold. Please understand this. This person right now, Kelly, will never, ever lose this lesson again. She is now changed forever, and forever she will go from losing money to making money. Can I get an amen? This is what I want for all of you. But you got to put in the work. You got to buy the courses. I'm sorry, that's the shtick. You're never going to see any YouTube review. This is blunt honesty. And I'm not very kind. I'm kind, but on my group calls, I'm not really nice. When people say stupid things, I knock them right back into line because that's what a good mentor does, right? Doesn't let you just sit there and be an idiot. And Kelly is a perfect example of a student that's cracking down even after losing, paying attention, waking up, and she will only win for the rest of her life. Okay? Like, this is freaking awesome. All right. So, she says if she would have taken this more seriously and put more effort into it, she says, I might be in a better position if I did. You're totally right, Kelly. You're freaking awesome. Thank you so much for this. She says, I have a plan now to take my profits and put them into different buckets like savings, taxes, tithing, and cash on the side to reinvest. Kelly, you're going to be wealthy like me. I'm not joking. The tithing is the most important part. All right. When you give 10% and then offerings are different, your life's going to be changed forever. All right. Can everyone that agrees with that type 100? Someone's like, how do I spell a hundo? Oh man, I gotta go. Anyway, I gotta leave. I'm late for a meeting. I got a tax meeting to go to. See you guys later. Ninjas out. Oh, geez.